showed up. But we never talked about bad fathers. The dads who stayed but just ain't shit.
I'm so glad that this young brother brought this point up because it needs to be addressed sincerely. Because in the black community, as it relates to black families, we tend to have this conversation around the black male presence as if though a black male presence is the only thing that's necessary in order to create a healthy family, and that's fallacious. But before we get into that, how y'all doing? My name is Professor Odie. I am a therapist and mental health and wellness coach, and I teach my clients how to be selfish. I teach my clients how to be selfish so they can unlearn negative internal trauma narratives so that they can unhook themselves from trauma patterns so that they can improve their quality of life overall. But today we are not here to talk about my products and services. We are here to talk about this particular instance of intergenerational trauma in the black community. So when we have this conversation around black dads, the rebuttal is usually, well, at least he was there. As a black father, you can be physically present, but emotionally absent. And emotional absence does contribute to the trauma of a family. This is the reason why when we talk about the mental health of black men, we talk about it so fervently in the space of being emotionally present and taking up emotional space. But this is also the reason why we utilize terms such as toxic masculinity to identify that emotional absence as a byproduct of being taught that as a black man, you should not express emotions, or you should not express particular emotions, which leads to emotional suppression and also emotional absence and withdrawal from families. Being an emotionally absent father can look like engaging with your children as transaction points or treating your children as followers in your regime instead of attempting to understand your children as people. Being an emotionally absent father can look like throwing yourself completely into your work or diving yourself completely into your work. And then when your family calls you in to ask you to be a part of the family, you say, well, who else is going to pay these bills? Being an emotionally absent father is utilizing the excuse of being a man or utilizing the excuse of masculinity to not engage with your family in an openly vulnerable way. See, we cannot just talk about the presence of fathers in the black community. That's not enough. These fathers have to be healthy. These fathers have to know how to emotionally regulate themselves. These fathers have to understand how it is that their trauma impacts the way that it is that they engage with their children. A man just being there does not create a healthy family if the man who is just being there is unhealthy. And for those of y'all who about to hit me with the, oh, you just trying to find another way to blame black men, let me explain something to you. If you are using the idea that you are a man or that you are masculine in order to avoid doing emotional labor or doing emotional work, then you are to blame for the emotional dilapidation that happens in your family. Bottom line, take it or leave it. Peace.